Click the links to join the channel here on YouTube, support on Subscribestar. Thanks to everyone who's been donating to that computing live streaming fund. It will be fun, and as I say, it might be short-lived fun. Like, try not to cut yourself with all that edge, Mister Shiba Doge, Mister Edgy Boy, Mister. Oh, where's the channel? Yeah, well, it'll be fun while it lasts. I'll try to keep it between the navigational guidelines. So thanks sincere to everyone who has donated and tipped across the various platforms without even me sending them feed pics. So Rings of Power, how do you fix Rings of Power? Well, the short version of this is that in this current environment, after 33 seconds, you can, I guess, click off, is that you can't, in this current environment, you can't fix it. You can't make Rings of Power. There's no way to fix it. The first season was horrible, and the Amazon tried to cover up the numbers. They can't. It's really bad. You're going through a cultural Bolshevik soft revolution, and all the corporate social mainstream media and social media and the government, unfortunately, and every major corporation is all kind of on the same page. So it is what it is. They're not going to be able to fix it. It's funny. It's funny. It's like they seem to have this the zephyrs flowing in their direction, at least politically speaking, but there seems to be evidence in terms of pop culture that doesn't quite back them up. So there's a little disconnect there. It's weird. It kind of activates the almonds. It kind of makes me think it's like something's not adding up here when people aren't supporting these comics, these movies, these shows. But apparently they're supporting their policies. They're tremendously popular politically. I'm not sure how that works. I'm sure there's nothing to see there. So no, in this current environment, the first season got like a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Internet Movie Database is owned by Amazon. Amazon makes the show, and it got like a 70%. So there's a problem there. I'm sure there's nothing to see there either. No, the show is horrible. Even Amazon knows the numbers of the show. So how it works is they have 9 episodes of the first season. The first show starts off, a million people watch it, and then it steadily declines. That's not good. That's not what you want to have. That's upside down for a show. You want obviously to go in the opposite direction. A steadily declining show for a show that has 5 years, it's like it's doomed, right? So the best thing for them is, because of the Wu flu issues, the film delay is going to take like 2 years before the next episode. That's good for them. People need to forget about how bad the first season was. So they're going to come back in a couple years, because this is like a major show. It's like $90 million per episode. There's no saving Rings of Power, and they say they're going to return to canon. Okay, how do I say this as carefully to stay on YouTube as possible? I'm not going to put Afro Hobbit in the title anymore, because the YouTube environment is changing so rapidly where that's quickly not going to become acceptable. There's a lot of self-censorship that goes on YouTube. So they say they're returning to canon. So I look at Rings of Power, the show, on Amazon or online, wink, wink. And then I look at the books and the Peter Jackson interpretation. I go, well, there's the disconnect between, there seems to be a schism between the books, the movies, the original movies, and then your interpretation of it. I see characters that are not in the original source material, and I also see a vibe that is not in the original source material. And let me cuck a little bit and play devil's advocate and say something. Let's explore the topic a little bit more deeply, which I kind of think the left wing doesn't do this, but like if you're on the right, I think you can do this. So if you said, well, okay, we really want to put non-canonical character, non-Euro hobbits in the story, we want to try to open it up to a bigger audience, and we like there are non-Europeans who really love the story, like really on board with it. And they're saying, come on, you got to put us in the story, dude. You got to put us in the story. We want to be on board with it. It's just a remake. And like they were coming from a good place and not from a cultural Marxist place. So let's explore that. And I know if you're like the base Telegram crowd, you're like, this mother... Let's just, we can hold both issues in our mind without accepting it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating this. I think it should be strictly a Euro-focused story. But if you had to put non-European characters in the story, how do you do it? Well, the simple, logical way to do it is like you make it an analog of Earth. On Earth, there are people who are in warm places, exposed to a lot of sunlight, and their skin has developed a natural protective shield from ionizing radiation. They've developed a tan to protect themselves from the sun. as you see the characters, it's like that's a natural human evolutionary advantage. So you would naturally explain it in the show to go, oh well, the image presented to me now is characters that don't did not come from the same evolutionary environment. So how do you even put them in the show if they're dying to be in the show? They got to be in the show. They go, I'm such a fan of The Hobbit. You got to put me in the show. I got to be in there. Like, okay, we'll do it like on Earth, like you're a different tribe. You're coming from the south. Obviously, you're not part of the not the Hottentots, the Harfoots, because both those are examples of tribal elements. Or one's fictional, one's realistic, but they all, like the Hottentots, all look very similar because they're all in the same evolutionary environment. So the way you'd sell the Harfoots is you just make up a tribe from the south, and it'll be from their analog of a place where there's more sunlight, and they come to team up with the hobbits. And you could do the same thing with the elves, and the team up is they have to unite to fight a common purpose. But you're labeling, you're clearly saying in the show, yes, they're coming from a different environment on this fictional universe where it makes sense. Like you look at the image on screen, like these people don't belong together. They don't even look of the same tribe. Like different European groups, like yes, you're not going to be able to, they will fit together at least on screen, but you have somebody who's coming from 10,000 miles away. It's like it's a massive different evolutionary environment. It destroys the willing suspension of disbelief. And if you have to put them in the show, the simple easy fix is to go, oh, they traveled a long way to come here. Boom, you got black hobbits. That's the simple way to do it. Now, is it ideal? No, but it's a compromise to sell the show to the biggest audience. You can't have it. You can't have these different groups of people, all being presented as like a conclusion. Like, oh, they all live together, all one tribe. Like, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense. You've done it with the hobbits, with the elves, and with the humans, or all this like it's all one global village. People hate that. It doesn't logically make sense. My simple explanation: do the same with the elves. They came from the south and they teamed up, and the different tribes of the elves are coming together because there's trouble brewing, there's storm brewing, and like that would make more sense with the elves because they're kind of more of an international group of people who are the hobbits doesn't, they're more insular, so it's like it really doesn't make sense when you've got Europeans and Africans all mixed together, like, oh yeah, we all live together, we're all one tribe. You're like, no, you're not. That doesn't make sense. Oh, you're just istophobic. That doesn't make sense either. Like I know that those words are just control words. They're not real words. And even people who are still kind of in the matrix a little bit, like you've called people those words so many times to go, they're starting to go, yeah, but that's not really an argument. I mean, for like argument and rhetoric, there's a pyramid, and you look at the top of the pyramid, it's attacking the argument, and then below that you're starting to attack the ad hominem type of stuff. It's like this is a deflection of the straw man. Just attacking the person who makes the argument doesn't attack the argument. Explain to me how they're part of a tribe. Oh, it's a fantasy universe. You're deflecting from my question. How are they part of a tribe? They look different. They look like they came from a different evolutionary environment. Oh, you're this. Oh, what you're saying is no. Again, like that. Those tricks, those Jedi tricks, don't work on me, Padawan. This doesn't make sense. That part of I'm done with that. Like I have the they live glasses on. Oh, well, that's histophobic too. Yes, again, you're trapped in the matrix and we're not. So it's like we're trying to talk to each other and we're trying to drag you out of the friggin' matrix, kicking and screaming to say, just talk to me without the cultural Marxist, like the filter in your head, the stimulus response where someone says one of those istophobic terms and it's immediately response without any cognition. It just bypasses, like you're acting out of fear. All those cultural Marxist terms for the past 100 years that they've brainwashed you into, you can wash that away within a month. And you don't have to, like, you can argue like an adult. Oh, but that's istophobic. But my cultural Bolshevik masters told me I'm not allowed to think for myself. You ever think maybe that they're like demon people who are brainwashing? Like, if this is where we are now, this is where we are. This is what they're trying to sell you. Maybe we're off track a little bit. Like, if you're afraid to say anything about this, you think maybe you're brainwashed a little bit. I mean, maybe it's time to wake up. Strap on them They Live glasses. The fight scene in They Live, that's why the fight scene was so long. I think that was why the fight scene was so long. Because that's how difficult it is to get people to put on the glasses. I hope this wasn't too much for YouTube. We'll find out. Where'd the channel go? I didn't think he said anything. I think it was kind of within the navigational guidelines. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Join the Subscribe Star if you can. The Odyssey, the Bit Chute. all the Gab, the Telegram, and I will see you guys all next episode.